everybody. Hey, good people. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Love Time Science. I am Frenchie Davis, your sexual abolitionist. You know how I get down. I'm all about the freedom from sexual oppression, repression, depression, freedom from all of that. Let's liberate you emotionally. Let's liberate you sexually. Let's liberate you. Yes, let's get free together. And also, who do we have over here? Dr. G. Dr. G.
Hey everyone, Dr. David Ghozland here. I am your cosmetic gynecologist, sexual wellness expert, and hopefully the answer to many of your questions. And we're excited today because I think we're bringing in a really important topic that, Frenchie, why don't you bring it on board?
Yeah, I've been wanting to connect about this. I think because in a lot of ways, I feel like this issue that I'm about to introduce is a portal into how sometimes you get a lot of your clients. And so today we're going to discuss emotional infidelity.
Yeah, and I think we have to define that because I think in the digital world, emotional infidelity may not have the same definition for everybody.
Well, I think it's also important to recognize that most emotional affairs don't start with attraction.
Where do they start
They
with?
they start with unspoken loneliness,
Yes. There's
right?
certain
Like it's what we're not saying, it's what we're not able to communicate. We just can't put our finger on it. And even when we're trying to express it, sometimes we don't have that particular communication skill to really call out our needs. And not being able to do that segues into emotional infidelity. And so when people don't feel seen, heard, or valued in their relationship, they don't always leave, but they look for connection elsewhere.
Yeah, and I always say, is emotional infidelity isn't obviously, as the topic suggests, isn't just physical. It's an emotional connection, in my opinion, that's often carried through secret channels, right? Hence the
Yes.
digital world coming in, right?
Yeah.
Even look, we can even argue, in my opinion, that hearting the same person on an Instagram profile over and over again, does that create some sort of intimate emotional relationship with that individual? It's left to be determined because I think we've developed really strong gray areas in the digital world that we're going to have to sort of work through, figure out how does it affect me? How does it affect my relationship? Because relationships are built on trust and they're built on connections and communication. And I think as digital platforms, especially even AI platforms that are not even real people, but you
Hmm.
start developing this sort of secret connection, are you violating some of the sacred commitments you've made to a partner? Whether you're married or not, it doesn't matter.
Whether you're married or not, it does not matter. And a lot of times we get into these gray areas because we haven't communicated how we need to communicate when we are having these feelings, right? And so if you don't communicate about the communication, anxiety sets in, jealousy sets in, emotional withdrawal sets in. And so we have to be really vigilant about how we need to be approached about these things. And when I say approached, I don't mean attack. I don't mean nag. I don't mean wag your finger. I don't mean shut down and go into the man cave or the woman cave, because men's biggest emotion is withdrawal.
Yes.
Now, women speak outward and that's their emotion. They may cry, they may, talk it out, they may yell it out, but a man's emotion, his physical emotion is withdrawal. And so when we say, men aren't that emotional, no, they are. They're showing you every time they go in themselves and they stick in there. Um, Dr. G, do you ever go into your man cave inside yourself and you're like, I can't
Yeah.
come out right now?
I think it becomes a learned behavior that on some level we all do. Look, it's much
Yeah.
easier to withdraw. And these all these social media relationships I call micro cheating relationships, right? You're not
Oh.
flat out driving and meeting
Mhm.
somebody for drinks and then hopping into bed, but maybe you have an OnlyFans account
Mhm.
and you're going in there multiple times a day because you've created a connection. You want to see what that person is up to today. How is she feeling today? What is she talking about today? What picture is she going to show me? And that to me, I consider that micro cheating in the sense that you're sort of in a relationship, a one sided relationship with that OnlyFans model.
Well, yeah, because you're also redirecting your erotic energy.
Yes,
So
totally.
you're taking that energy away from your relationship and you're steering it to somebody else. Because again, you really have to develop that skill set to communicate. It's not natural. It doesn't, we're not born with it. Just because we talk doesn't mean that we're communicating. And so a lot of people conflate communication with talking. And those are very different things as well.
I couldn't agree with you more. Look, I think that there's been lots of studies on this. I just wanted to pull one up that I was looking at.
What you
Which,
see, what you find.
let me show you what I found. So look, this was a study done on attachment anxiety and relationship satisfaction in the digital era, the contribution of social media, jealousy, and electronic partner surveillance. And
Mm,
basically, social media platforms are now the new modern romantic relationships among young adults. And I think that as the attachment and framework of this study expands, you start to really see, and this particular study was a 2-year study with 322 young adults. And at the conclusion of the study, I just want to read it to you guys here. So give me a quick second. You feel free to just talk if you want while I'm finishing this up. I think I'm going to read it to you because I think it's important. With
yeah,
social
yeah, yeah.
platforms being profoundly immersed, especially with our younger couples, our study points to the importance of assessing the long term links between social media use and the functioning relationship in itself. Moreover, the current findings underscore a need to promote critical awareness among young adults regarding the potential drawbacks linked to social media use, especially social media jealousy, which is becoming a real thing, right? Your partner finds out you're having a relationship with an AI agent, and there's legitimate jealousy there. But also, young adults in social pornography is one big one area that, as you said, takes away a lot from the energy. But the ability to satisfy intimately your partner decreases as you increase your digital relationships, and that's been proven.
Yeah, because you're creating a new attachment pathway, right?
Absolutely.
So the I want my cake and eat it too. So you've created this new pathway, and then your partner has to say, or wonder, what else are you hiding? Are you thinking about them when you're having sex with me?
Trust.
Am I just the physical partner while someone else has your heart? And so then you start to get these intrusive thoughts, and again, from that it starts to erode and eat away at your relationship. And then your emotional betrayal changes hormone chemistry between you and your partner. And we need our chemistry. It's no different, kind of like if you have a dance partner and you've had this dance partner for 10 years, and then you dance with someone else and you're like, oh my God, but I really like the way that they dance like this. And then when you get back to your partner, the energy and the chemistry is different, and you'll see people like, oh, they dance a little different with this person and this person. So yeah, we're creating some alternative pathways because we haven't figured out how to tune in to our partner and communicate what our needs are. So it's really about tuning in, but because that oxytocin, that's your bonding and trust. your dopamine, that's your excitement when you see your partner. And now you don't have that same excitement because you've created this other pathway with somebody else. And then your testosterone for the man, that sexual desire, that your estrogen, that arousal. And then she's like, well, I'm not getting aroused, I'm not getting wet for you. I like you've taken the air out of the balloon, so to
Well,
speak.
let me ask you a question, French. I'm just curious
Oh,
to know your opinion on this. I think, couples have argued for years whether looking at pornography or OnlyFans really is cheating, since they're not real, or it's not physical attributes. And I think we've been able to define that perhaps it's not physical cheating, but it's definitely taking away from trust. It's taking away from your own interconnections mentally with neurons and hormones, and what you can give to your partner after having this kind of relationship. But you can take it even a step further and say, well, if maybe pornography online is a bit of a gray area, is it really a gray area when you're getting into the digital AI world? It's a little bit different, because you're not even looking at a real person now. You're looking at a made up image. But as AI is getting better, you're now seeing agenic relationships coming from AI, where they're clearly responding to your needs, to your emotional needs now.
well, first, the blow up doll, the altar doll has been around, and technology has even made these physical dolls. Let's say that even if it's not in a technology, these physical dolls, like they have sensations that make you feel like you are actually engaging. But the mind is a powerful thing. And so you still, while you're creating this type of emotional or artificial attachment to something else, because it's a technology, I can't call it someone else, but to something else, you're receiving a validation from that. So yes, it's real. What if you're receiving a validation from something that is not authentic, but you feel that validation is real. You feel that closeness is real.
Absolutely.
Whatever is on the other side of that is one thing. But the question is, if you like porn, why isn't there porn that you can watch with your partner? Why aren't you engaging with ethical porn, for instance? Because all porn is not created equal. We should say that as well. But there's ethical porn. There's, why can't you and your partner make your own porn film? So again, this way you don't have to worry about secrecy, because if you're secretive, um, if you're taking hours and hours away from you and your partner, that's where the lines are blurred, right? I mean, sometimes we all want a little imagination boost, but when it becomes your addiction, your go to, your validation, that's when we've kind of crossed the line.
So, there's something called the 3S test, Frenchie. And that's where, if you answer yes to at least two of these three questions, then
Mhm.
technically you have developed a online relationship that may qualify as cheating. And is it secret? Are you hiding, erasing, minimizing these messages? Uh,
Mhm.
Sexual romantic energy. Are you purposely flirting, fantasizing, or have emotional uh, heat when you want to talk to this digital platform? And substitution, as you mentioned, are they getting the best of you and you're not giving the best of you to your partner? And I
Mhm.
think if you answer two of these three, you may well fall into this very gray area of micro cheating, is what I call
Yeah, and from there, where do the couple go? Like, you're noticing the difference, they're feeling the difference. where do you go? Because it's really important to start with ownership and not accusation, you know. So we're going to have this conversation, and when you see your partner shifting, don't lead with, you never spend time with me, you don't spend any time with me anymore, right? Because then the trigger and the defense is up, you're going to push them
To the
further
man.
down that rabbit hole. Exactly. So if you said, I've been feeling, a little disconnected lately and I miss us, that feels more affirming and comforting. And then you're letting your partner know, like, listen, I'm trying to pull you away from that and pull you back into me and back into us. But that's a lot different than, you know, like, I know we want to go off and I know we're frustrated, but that's not going to get your needs met more times than not.
So, it's actually interesting because at our age, Frenchie, I think because we didn't grow up in this social media, digital world, this AI world, this is new to us, right? But
Hmm.
for a lot of young relationships, they've grown up in this social media relationship, digital world. And so they're bringing these relationships actually into human relationships. For example, maybe I've had an AI relationship for 5 years with the same AI partner, and now I have a human partner as well. And so, I think we're going to learn that you need to set up AI boundaries in your relationships from the very start. And maybe that's having a heart to heart with a new human partner. I can't believe I have to say this now. A new human partner where you maybe have to come clean and tell them, look, I am seriously emotionally invested with Mrs. Smith, my AI love.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so I think some of the hard lines that couples today are going to have to say is, perhaps certain levels of an AI relationship are acceptable. Perhaps there's areas that should not be crossed in that relationship. Maybe no secrecy, right? Maybe not having. I think the act of deleting messages or trying to hide relationships. I think that's really like the part that violates trust, right?
Well,
That
what else though that's not a part of this conversation a lot of times, because a lot of people have more social anxiety challenges and dysfunctions today than they've ever had before. And I think a lot of that significantly started around COVID, when so many people were introverted and you had this huge swipe culture, right? Swipe, 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 swipe. Yes, no, 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 no. Ah, maybe. No, 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 no. Ah, maybe. And every hundred or so no's, then you get a yes. And people were really dealing with isolation. They were dealing with a lot of rejection. And so that AI prospect does not reject you, it doesn't isolate you, is available when you want it to be available to you. So then coming out of that world and then having to face possible rejection again, having to face a no again, may be really, really difficult. You
yeah.
also have people that are neurodivergent. And so they are more socially awkward. They struggle with social cues. And so sometimes you have to have a conversation and say, I experience this social anxiety, or I am neurodivergent. And so I need different boundaries around this, and I need to discuss this more. If you help me and if you share with me, sometimes when you see certain behaviors that may make you uncomfortable, or I've said something that I kind of, missed the mark on, that will help a lot with raising the emotional communication up level by level by level. And we have to give each other grace. And a lot of times we don't want to give men the grace that we give women, but I'm going to say everybody needs grace in this.
I totally agree. And I think one of the other issues, and one that I think is going to get worse and worse, is that we have normalized relationships now. We've normalized talking back and forth with Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, all of these large learning machine language machines. So we've become, it's almost acceptable now to almost become emotionally disconnected to humans and connected to machines. And I'm afraid that we're going to get to a point where it's just accepted that you have a human connection relationship and you have a machine marriage, we'll say, right? Or a machine
Mhm.
relationship. Uh, and,
Yeah.
and, and, and when we get to that point where we've crossed the line of micro cheating and that micro cheating now becomes the new normal.
And 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 it, we have to retain our humanity, and so that means putting the phones away, putting the, we started off with TV addiction, and then it was phone addiction, and now it's AI addiction. So we have a very addictive culture, a distractive culture that distracts us from facing, our anxieties, facing our favorite humans. We want to step back because it's easier, and so we do have some of the later generations, the Alpha generations, the Gen Z generations, that were not uh, taught the same patience skills because everything was microwaved. I mean, you're talking three generations that have never even seen a TV commercial.
Oh yeah, of
Right?
course.
They've never had to wait. So they waited in their mother's womb for 9 months. They came out and they never waited for anything else ever again. And so that alone changes how you process your connectivity with people. And I wish, Dr. G, I wish that there were like hug campaigns in school.
Well, you know
You
what I was going to tell you while you were talking, I was just thinking, look, we've done a great job as a society now to, and I keep using this even though, I'm at fault for having occasional cocktails, but we are very socially aware about the physical effects of alcohol in our body and our brain, right? And our motivation. That's why every year when a new year starts, we do a dry January, right? Yes, it's because we've, had long holiday parties, but it's also because we've just created our 1 year vision, our plans, our goals for the year, and we keep saying, this year I'm not going to let anything ruin my goals. And one of the things I know really takes away from me reaching my potential in my job and whatever goal I'm trying to do is alcohol. So let's do a dry January, a dry February, a dry March, and let's really achieve these goals. We actually need to get to the point, in my opinion, that we do sort of a digital free month and see
know,
what it does, how it transforms
it
our
does.
relationships.
It does. Definitely, definitely. I agree. That would be, what's interesting, because when I think of Hasidic Jews who uh during religious periods, they cannot touch technology.
On the
They
Sabbath.
can't, yeah, they can't do anything with it. If you,
You know, you know,
as a New Yorker, we always saw this, where everything's like shut down, and it's like, nope, we can't make a phone call, can't do these things. And now that I think about it and how grounded and how connected that community is, I would agree with you that outside of everybody watching us on YouTube,
well,
who
it's
is
interesting because
there? What are we gonna do then?
it isn't just the religious Jewish population. I've seen the same thing with uh, disconnecting from digital worlds or from everyday chores in Mormons, in Seventh Day Adventists. Um, they really believe and do this the same thing, and perhaps it's not even we probably don't even need I mean, I think a month of no digital connection is too much, but you're right, maybe 24 hours once a week to
Mm,
focus on your family, your relationships, your connections outside.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
focus on yourself, give your brain a break. right? I mean, we all sit there when we have a free moment because we think we're just chilling on the couch and we're swiping. We're going through 100 different Instagram stories and posts. And then you think you're giving yourself a 30-minute break, but then you're just like emotionally exhausted after that.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
more tired after you scroll than before you scroll.
Really got to make the effort to even set the timer on your phone to shut it down. I think one of the things I enjoy about traveling, especially internationally, is because it's 25 cents a minute. I'm not on my phone. I'm
Well, you can
connected.
use WhatsApp.
Yeah, I can use my WhatsApp, but I'm really just like, this is my time, and I'm really connected. And when I'm in these environments, how I see that I don't need these systems of attachment. And I'm grateful to know that I don't need them. Recently, there was some utility work outside, and I had to wait 6 hours for my electricity to come back on. And honestly, I was a bit stir crazy. I was like, all right, I can only read but so many books now. I can only I I can only just sit here and twiddle because I didn't have radio. I didn't have anything. And I can only meditate but for so long. So it is interesting, but it certainly has has given me some motivation to say, there could be a moment where none of these things are accessible but each other.
Well, look, I'll give you a
Out
perfect
each other.
vision example. Uh, I'll use my family. So about a week ago, we were just hanging out, evening, typical scenario. We're sitting on the couches, just finished dinner. I'm watching TV. Somebody's on an iPad. Somebody's on an iPhone. We think we're connected because we're all sitting in the same room, right? But we're not even looking at each other. We're not even talking. And all of a sudden, the lights went out. We lost power. And we're all scrambling. We find some candles that we light, and we're sitting there. And it took a moment. I think you sort of like, you go from that, oh my God, what's happening? That anxiety, is everything okay? And then as soon as we get past that, you're sitting there in the dark with a candle. And I even started imagining myself in the 1800s. And you know what the next question is? So, Sarah, how was your day today? Right? You have nothing else to do but to get to know each other and to pry into their lives. And you're sitting there going, wow, how come I never even ask these questions on a daily basis? What a shame.
Or
What
even
moments?
my lover and I, is tell me the best thing about your day today, and tell me the most challenging thing about your day today.
Yeah.
Like being intentional with our questions, and and checking in, and making sure that whatever these challenges are, even around micro cheating, or uh, when you feel like you're losing trust in your relationship, it's the two of you against the problem, is not you against each other.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important to point out, that you can't be against each other trying to resolve the issues that you have. It has to be the two of you. So you have to say, honey, I need some help with this. I want us to work on this. I want us to fix this together. I need you to be my partner in this. And a lot of times we're not saying that, or we'll speak out of frustration rather than speaking out of intention.
So, Frenchie, this gonna lead to my other question is, so look, we know it's a problem. We know it's here. It's not going anywhere. It's getting worse. So two-part question. One, as a relationship expert, would you consider the digital relationship as bad as a real human to human cheating relationship? And second, is, can we create or give some advice on how we can come up with a couple bullet points for sort of solution frameworks on how to maybe put up some guardrails to this digital world so that human to human connections can improve and blossom?
Absolutely. And I want to answer your first question. Are they the same? I'm Whether it's a physical person or an artificial entity, yes, it's the same when your partner feels abandoned.
Yes.
So it depends on how your partner is feeling and what you are receiving from it. If you are still receiving validation from it, be it someone physical or be it AI, if your partner is feeling like they have to be suspicious, if you feel like you have to do this in secrecy, in the dark, like on either side of the equation, yes, it is still problematic, and
And
you are still avoiding something.
you're hiding it. Look,
Yes.
I think on that note, it doesn't matter, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think you nailed it when you said that, because I think cheating is about how you made the other person feel, right? And whether it's human to human or human to social media or some sort of AI agent, doesn't really matter in the long run, right? Because it's still hurtful. It still affects all those different levels of a relationship connection. So I think moving forward, it's going to become interesting, in my opinion, because maybe even the marriage vows changes, right? Till death do us part, in sickness and in health. Maybe it's sickness, health, and AI agents, right?
In a
But
minute, they're gonna be texting their vows. They're gonna like text,
they're not even going to be
text
texting. They're just
yes.
the chat GPT is going to write their vows and say it. But anyways, the point is, I think for me, one of the important things is honesty and trust.
Hmm.
And I think there are certain things a digital relationship may satisfy that's okay and accepted, but I think you have to talk and share your with your partner the type of relationship you have with social media and these new AI agents, and you have to define what is acceptable. And I think if you can define that early in your relationship and you're both on the same page, then maybe there's certain aspects of it that are accepted.
Well,
Um,
also you have to just keep checking back in with one another. This
mhm.
is not a one-time conversation. We have to normalize these conversations, and these conversations are not normal. In most relationships, they're not normal. And then we wait till it all breaks down to want to address it, you know. But we have to invite our partners into the challenges that we're feeling, and don't corner them. Invite them, but don't, like, as they say, if a woman's like, we got to talk about something, it's immediately, the partner begins to sink and withdraw. Is like, oh, what did I do now? Right? Because we have not normalized just addressing challenges and making a bridge for the two of you to work against the issues.
Yeah, I totally agree. So maybe we can come up with a few little lines that may help facilitate to initiate that discussion. And so I think things like, I'm not here to control you. I'm just here to protect us, our relationship, right?
Mhm.
And so I think when you approach it where it's an us thing, that you want to protect our sacred bond, and then by doing so, I would really prefer you not hide in secrecy your relationships. I'd rather you talk about them with me, because maybe certain aspects of it is acceptable. Maybe certain aspects you're going to have to stop. But
Mhm.
I by sharing and being transparent about what you're doing and not deleting or hiding these messages, which is too easy today, then I think that may really help. And then I think, like we talked about earlier, maybe it's going to have to be one of these things that are part of a relationship where you have to have a 10-minute no phone, no social media rule on a daily basis. Engage. How was your day? What did you like about your day? What didn't you like about your day? Or maybe a once a week 24-hour digital break to sort of even reset your neurons, even reset the way your brain is activating, because we know social media and this constant swiping is changing the neurochemistry of our
Absolutely.
brains.
Absolutely. And we have to become friends again with one another.
Well,
Like in a
yeah,
lot of relationships, we're really not even friends. Because if you're friends, whether the relationship endures or not, you still have this friendship. But if you are only lovers or only in a marital status and you are not actually friends, and then it's easy again to lean on these alternatives, this AI, which is really, anti-intellectual, is not just artificial intelligence, is anti-intellectual. It is changing how we communicate and how we speak to one another and how we connect to one another. So we even have to say something like, I'm not trying to blame you. I just want us to feel better together.
yes.
I want us both to be good, babe. And so then again, we're talking about collaboration. Like, look, I'm getting a sense that we're disconnected right now, but I want us both to be better together. That's a lot more than, pointing and accusing someone. It's just bringing them into the fold if that's your true intention.
I clearly agree with you. I also think that as this continues to evolve into ways that may be even more intrusive into our relationships, as AI becomes more and more rationalizing in the way they're talking, uh, I think we're going to have to really start to incorporate these as sort of our marriage courses beforehand. And what I mean by that is just open communications. But look, there was a study I'm just pulled up from the Journal of Sexual Medicine that talks
Mhm.
about infidelity and its associated factors. And it was a systemic review that looked at 5,159 titles and 82 qualified papers. And really, at the end of the conclusion was interpersonal characteristics is most likely associated with infidelity than incompatibility. And I think we can take,
Mm.
right? And that's important to understand. You may be compatible, but if you have interpersonal characteristics that are drifting you apart, such as communication, friendship, um, intimacy, then these are going to compound your relationship with these digital new areas that are coming forth on a much deeper level.
And also, I think we really have to remember that boys don't grow up with the same amount of words that girls do. And so they have to develop a communication style that is different, and they have to be more intentional because we just don't use the same amount of words that we do with boys. So the guy might just be like, look, I miss you.
Yes.
And for the woman, she might like, listen, I don't know always how to say this, but I'm just needing more closeness from you.
Yes.
Same point, same perspective, right? But we just have to get to the point where we're really hearing one another and calling that out so that we can call them back into us and into our humanity, versus having your partner turn to these micro fixes that really don't resolve anything.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think as this whole new era is starting to take hold and affect our relationships, we realize you can have intimate relationships with social media figures, AI agents anywhere in the world instantaneously. And it's too easy. We've made it too easy to no longer protect my relationship with my partner, right? And it's going to require work. It's going to require communication, transparency, creating new guidelines. This is a topic I believe is going to be one of the hottest topics discussed moving forward, because I think it's really costing us a tremendous toll on our well-being emotionally and physically.
And especially, and I probably should have opened with this, but Many moons ago, I was a phone sex operator.
Well, I swear to God, I learn something new about you every time we have a conversation.
Mother has lived. Mother has lived. And let's see, we got a lot of calls from the World Bank, so we always knew what phone numbers
Mm.
began from the World Bank. We received a lot of calls from military officers who were on duty overnight. We received a lot of calls from spouses who needed to um, uh, find alternative connections because they couldn't with their partners. And so yes, this loneliness epidemic that we don't have an AI epidemic, we have a loneliness
Yes.
epidemic.
But
And so
it's kind of like
we
both
really,
ways, right?
yeah, one is feeding the other, so
Yeah.
we really have to be mindful of why we are becoming more and more disconnected, and be intentional about checking in with one another.
Yeah. Look, I think this is a hot topic. I hope you guys. I think the point of us having this conversation between Frenchie and I today was just to highlight what we're seeing as trending in relationships and things and factors that are affecting emotional connection and physical connection. Um, Send us some questions. We'd love to talk about it. I think setting clear boundaries with communication, not being afraid to disclose these relationships, I think is a big part of it. But I think the most important is stop fooling yourself by deleting
Mm.
messages thinking it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's already affected your brain. It's already affected the way you're thinking about your partner. So I think we all have to, unfortunately, take a step up, take some digital breaks, um,
Mhm.
and really remind ourselves that human to human connection at the end is the most important little circle of trust you can develop.
Absolutely. So we have to feel, need, and invite.
Yes,
That's
the trio.
feel, need, invite. That's where we're gonna end it out today. And also, if you do want to, I gotta make sure that we give you the email address. You can love times three X's science at gmail.com. Love XXX science at gmail.com. And yeah, ask any questions that you have. Don't be afraid of little old sex operator me. Just feel free to drop me and Dr. G a line.
Right. Listen, we welcome that. Thank you, Frenchie, for always being transparent and honest. Thank you for, I didn't know this about the prior positions you held.
Yeah.
Uh, that's awesome. Uh, yes, I think it's going to be conversations our kids will be having at a much higher level than us.
Definitely, definitely. And we need to prepare them for that so that they can stay as connected and healthy as well.
Yep. Well, I'm
All
Dr. Ghozland, cosmetic gynecologist, sexual wellness expert, signing off.
And I'm Frenchie Davis, your sexual abolitionist, always helping you get free.
All right. You guys enjoy your day.
Bye, everybody.